Welcome to video 4. This video is going to be on establishing good habits after you've gotten rid of the bad habits. I want to start this video off in case you found it difficult to get rid of some of your bad habits. You may have been trying to get rid of these and found that it was more difficult than you thought. Sometimes we're able to stop these habits for a couple days, maybe a week, and then something in life happens and we end up reverting right back to our old behavior. So if that's the case, I want to just take you down a quick rabbit hole to dig a little bit deeper into why that happened. This should help you explore more of the root cause of the bad habit, which is actually essential in getting rid of that habit for good. Let's use overeating as an example, and let's say that you've been trying to eat healthier, but you just can't seem to make it happen and you find yourself going back to fast foods and comfort foods. This was actually a problem I had for many years. So the first thing that you want to do is look at the habit and try to figure out why you're doing it in the first place. In my case, I was doing it because I was stressed out. And this is actually where most people stop and they say, I'm overeating or I'm eating unhealthy because I'm stressed and I just can't stop. And most people accept their stress levels and say, I can't change that right now because that's just the way that I'm living my life and hopefully it will stop someday, but right now it just isn't. I want to encourage you to dig a little bit deeper into that. And so what that looks like is we look at the stress and we take it another notch deeper and ask ourselves, what exactly is stressing us out? And let's say, for example, it's your job. Your job is stressful. Okay, why is it stressful? It's stressful because my manager is always breathing down my neck. I have too many to-dos and not enough time to get them done. Maybe it's your only source of income and you find it stressful because you don't have enough money to take care of yourself or your family. This is actually really good info because it lets you know what is stressing you out. And so when you find out what exactly is stressing you out, you can start to change that. Examples of how you might be able to change that are you can subtly ask your manager for a raise. You can think about starting a side hustle where you could make more money. You could decide that you're going to make an agreement with yourself to react differently when your manager puts stress on you and just accept that you can do what you can do and you're not going to suffer and stress out because of that. You could decide to open your mind up to searching for a new job or taking on a new career path. And I want to say that these are just some of the options, but the main thing here is you want to be open to change. You want to be open to something new being able to happen that could reduce your stressful situation. It could even be someone that you meet that presents you with an opportunity and invites you to work with them in a new career path. So the point is to keep your mind open to change instead of just thinking this is how it's always going to be, nothing's going to change, I just need to get through this patch and then I can finally relax, because that usually doesn't nip the problem in the bud for good and you find yourself always stressing out over something. Let's say for a moment that you just can't make any changes right now and that's just the way it is for you. The next thing that you can do is start thinking about things that you can do for yourself, not necessarily new habits to form, because we don't want to put pressure on ourselves here, but what can you do to help yourself relax more during the day? Can you create a safe space in the evenings to relax and read a book, take a hot bath or shower, do some stretching, some breathing, some yoga? A lot of us use devices at night, even up to the minute before we go to bed. I recently stopped using devices in the evening and I can't tell you how much it's reduced my stress level. It's actually quite astonishing. Not only have I been getting the best sleep in 20 years, but I'm also a lot more relaxed in the evening and I didn't even do anything differently. This was just taking something away from my routine. And so yes, I did free up a lot of time And I decided, well, what do I want to do with that time? And I decided to start reading again. I haven't read actively in over 15 years. I decided to create that space where I would take a hot shower, get a glass of water or some tea, and just read. My routine after dinner now has switched from watching something on Netflix with my wife to putting on some calming music and sitting on the couch with her and just talking. And some wonderful conversations have sparked from that. So the key is here not to put any pressure on yourself to do anything, but rather think about what you can do to take care of yourself instead of doing things that you know stress you out. This is a lot different than trying to force new habits on yourself. And the reason why we don't want to do this is because it's already stressful enough to give up a bad habit, not to mention the expectation of having to do a good habit on top of that. And if you don't do both simultaneously, you have a strong chance of feeling like you failed or feeling bad about yourself, and that can lead to self-sabotage and stress. So that's why we want to try to do these things one at a time, because it allows for more permanent growth and change. You have a much higher probability of succeeding in the long term if you do things in a slow and steady manner. So now that we've covered that portion, I want to get into how to set good habits. The whole idea with this is once you give up one bad habit, or maybe a few, you're going to start to feel really good. You're going to start to feel proud of yourself. Your confidence level is going to rise. You're really going to start to believe in yourself again and say, wow, I can do this. And I know that because I've actually walked this journey myself, and I'm still shocked at the transformation that's been able to happen in just a year. And it didn't take a full year. I started to notice differences within weeks. And then the journey started to become fun because I was working on myself. It's like playing a video game, but instead of building up a character, you're building up yourself. And most of us shy away from doing this because we think it's going to take years to transform our lives, but it really doesn't take that long. It just takes a couple weeks of consistency. And then what happens is we start to become motivated to do more things. And the game of life actually becomes fun again. So the whole reason why we gave up bad habits first is because it creates a spring forward for you where you're going to be excited to add these new things into your life. So for example, if one of the bad habits that you gave up was unhealthy eating, you may decide that you want to introduce some more hydrating foods into your diet, like fruits, salads, and drinking more water during the day. You may decide that you want to sign up for a gym membership or start doing some at-home workouts. And you can do research online and find quick 20-minute workouts that you can do in your home with just a mat or on carpet. You don't need to pay anything. You can actually just start simply like this. I've actually been doing calisthenic workouts, and I've explored yoga and all sorts of things that you can do at home just with a computer. Start with something that's easy. Don't put a lot of pressure on yourself, and just know that something is better than nothing, and you can build from that. And the whole point is to continually build progress as time goes on, because that's how you start to see permanent change. And then it becomes your new identity, and then you have a very slim chance of going back to that old version of yourself. So for this, I would encourage just starting with one good habit. What do you want to add into your life now that you've freed yourself of at least one bad habit? Because that bad habit that you're no longer doing has freed up time in your day. And now you can take that time and do something beneficial for yourself. And if you don't know what to do, I recommend starting to go on walks. Go on walks in nature if you can. And just allow your mind to be open, and you'll start to have creative thoughts come in, and it will probably eventually lead to you getting an idea on something that you want to do. I can't tell you how many walks I've had where I've come up with the next thing that I want to write about, the next thing that I want to talk about on my podcast, the next video I want to make. Going for a walk frees your mind to come up with all sorts of ideas. The key is when you're walking, don't use headphones and be open to having information come in. If you absolutely have to listen to something, listen to some relaxing music, some mantras, something with a high frequency that invites creativity in. Once you get that good habit down, then you can really enjoy putting your new life together. And you can decide that you want to try the next thing and the next thing. And this is how you build your new identity, one habit at a time. If you have more bad habits that you then want to try to tackle and get rid of, I highly recommend that. I didn't get rid of all my bad habits at once before I started implementing good habits. I got rid of the ones that I could, and then after I got stronger, I went back and I tackled some of the harder bad habits, and that might be a strategy that works for you. So give this a shot. If you need support, again, you can consult a good friend, you can join a support group, you can hire a coach or a therapist. These are great resources that are available to you to keep you on track and to keep you moving forward, because this is really what you want to do. This is your inner soul speaking to you that you want to change something in your life, and this is how you do it. And the more people you surround yourself with who are operating on a higher frequency and who are supportive and can give you bursts of motivation, that's how you dress yourself up for success. So give these methods a shot. Let me know how they work for you. I'd love to hear about your progress at this point, especially since we're on video 4. And I'll see you on video 5, where we start talking about what you can now do with your new identity that's forming. This is when things actually get really exciting, because you're probably going to be the strongest version of yourself that you've ever been at this point. You're going to be in a really good place, and this is where you're going to be able to tackle all these goals that you've always been afraid of and that you've never been able to do. So gear up, and I'll see you in video 5.